Welcome to my presentation of the Ultimate NetMercial. This is all about creating a commercial that will work in networking meetings or when you're talking to someone that just at a random meeting or something. And I want you to keep this in mind to be able to have this ready for them. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. Let's start by just looking at this. So it's the pitch to the ultimate NetMercial or networking commercial. And you can use this to get engagement going and help them self-identify if they are a perfect prospect for you. And maybe they want to do business with you and they'll say so. So let's go ahead and go on. So there are 6 parts to this. And so we're going to start with number 1, and that is to inform them. Now, you don't tell them that you're helping who it is you're helping. You really want to explain who you really work with. Now, these might be small business entrepreneurs, men, women, seniors. You get the idea. You want to be able to have that as a fairly narrow niche, but not so narrow that you're going to lose everybody. Okay. Now, I know that when you're talking about who you talk to, you want to talk to a specific person when you're doing social media or advertising. But in this particular case, you want to make it just a little bit wider so that you pick up those people who are listening to you and they say, ooh, I can use that. Okay. And then you also need to know who you don't want to work with. This is important to understand, and then why. Because you don't want to put the words in that's going to really attract them. And then lastly, here's something you use. So use businesses hire me or women hire me. That's where you start with. Okay, now let's talk about the ultimate outcome. Okay, and so first you got to find the power words that you need to use for your business, what your product or service does. Now, you can use a thesaurus, you can look them up all kinds of different ways, maybe even ask some friends or such, but here are some of the most popular power words that we see. Catapult, revenue, ambition, success, unlock, unleash, power. These are all power words that you want to be able to use. Now, of course, you're only going to use one or the other of maybe a couple of them, and I'll show you how all of these come together in a few minutes. But these are important to know. Now, here's one of the best ways to find some of those power words and what the ultimate outcome is. Look at testimonials and reviews, and if they've given you a good story, it'll probably utilize some of these. It'll help you identify right up front what those words are. And it also helps you understand what your customers were feeling when they said yes to you. Okay. Now, number 3 is rub the bruise. You know, have you ever gotten a bruise on the back of your arm and, you know, every time you touch it, it really just hurts? Well, I want you to do that same kind of thing, but instead of a bruise on your arm, I want you to rub the bruise that they have for the problem that they have. So sometimes you look at this and you say, okay, what's the problem that you're solving? What is it that's going to happen if they don't get it solved? Make a list of this, put 4 or 5 things down, and then choose for the right 1 or 2, or maybe even 3. I like to choose the best 3 that you can use. And those 3 bruises you're rubbing. Now, sometimes it's only one of those 3 bruises that you're rubbing. That's all right. Because you've chosen 3, it allows you to grab that one bruise that really hurts the most for them. So do that. Now, once you get them figured out, then make them short and sweetly painful and to the point. You know, well, I'll show you how this works when we get to number 5. But first, we've got to figure out how we're going to help them. So this is all about benefit, benefit, benefit. Do not use features. Always talk about what's in it for them. That's the key. So use 3, make them short as well. And you can again use your reviews or testimonials to substantiate these benefits. And you want to really hit them hard and strong. Now, write a review of yourself as you would hope someone would. This will help you identify some of those things. And then perhaps someone has given you a perfectly worded review. Well, copy that, but keep that in mind and utilize this information. This is really important here. Now let's go on to actually putting it all together. So this is my NetMercial, okay? So mid-sized companies and entrepreneurs hire me to unlock the power of social media. Did you catch that? There's what I do. Because most, here's the pain points, failed to obtain a steady flow of new clients, are throwing money away and wasting too much time dabbling with exposure. Those are three really strong things for my industry. Now, here's the outcome, the ultimate outcome. So I help them get more targeted, engaged followers that turn into prospects ready to say yes. Now, did you see how that all worked? How it all flows? Okay. Now, there's one more thing that you need to know. First, you always need to start with your name, but also finish with your name and your company or what you do. So in my case, I always start with, I'm Boyd Peterson. I do social media marketing. BP Media is great, and I can get them so that they understand that. But I want them to really recognize me for social media, period. Social media marketing. So I'm Boyd Peterson. I do social media marketing. Now, here's why you want to have it at the beginning and at the end. Now, let's say that you say, I'm Boyd Peterson, and then you start getting into it. About halfway through, they go, I know somebody, or I'm one of those people. That's what you want. But if you don't put your name at the end and tell them what you do again, they're not going to be as prone to come up and talk to you. But people, if you put in your name at the end, people are 33% more likely to approach you if they have somebody who they know of, or it's themselves. They can then use your name to say, hey, Boyd, I got this, or I know so-and-so. Now, isn't that what we're here for? Let's get 33% more of those people who have identified either themselves or someone else to come up and talk to you and give you that referral. Okay, so now making this commercial engaging is something you should do. And, you know, one of the things that I always recommend is start with figuring out your 30-second commercial. Get it so that you can say it over and over correctly, or with only minor changes as to the person you've got in front of you. But then also have it so that you have a 45-second and a 60-second commercial as well. So if you have more time, you can use more time. I'll tell you how important this is. I utilized this commercial, and I was one time getting on an elevator. I'm on the 16th floor of a building, and we're going down to the main floor. And in walks somebody I have been trying to get a hold of for years, but he's got a great gatekeeper that I couldn't get past. And so here he is. So and he says, I know you from somewhere. And I says, yes. And he says, what is it you do? I gave him my ultimate NetMercial. We got down to the second floor and we're still going down. And he says, I think we ought to meet. I'll tell my secretary to set up an appointment with you. Now, isn't that what you want? That is what I would have been wanting. And guess what? He's still my customer today. And so that's what you get when you have this all ready and prepared and you've practiced it. In fact, a lot of times when I first started doing these, I used to practice in front of a mirror. I don't do it in the front of a mirror anymore, but I do practice it. Get it so that it becomes easy and I know exactly how to say that. So, does that help you? I certainly hope so. Here's my information. I appreciate you being with me today and learning more about how to be a better networker by having a better commercial that will attract more people to you and help you self-identify or help them self-identify that they're the right prospect for you. And here's all my information. Thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.